Hello guys and welcome back to the channel. My name is Steve, otherwise known as Pin, and today we're going to take a look at the reclaimers, but in particular one found on Microtech. It has piqued my interest for a while. We've seen many concept images of these wrecks and how they might look, and to see them in the flesh is awesome. CIG have done a superb job. I mean, the attention to detail here is really impressive, I have to admit, but it does hold some future implications. A lot of people think, okay, cool, another wreck, awesome, another point of interest, but it actually holds a lot more in terms of the future of things that we might bump into throughout the verse while playing this game. There's a lot of attention thrown towards exploration. Okay, we have various ships with the promise of many systems and, you know, things of that nature, and to have a tool where they can build these derelicts and now have them guarded and patrolled by AI is certainly going to bring exploration to the forefront, because we could potentially be bumping into wrecks all over the place for that added bit of extra exploration and intriguement as to what's going on a certain planet at a certain time, and who knows what you might find. Now, unfortunately, despite all of my attempts, I could not get the reclaimer missions, any of them, to spawn for me, which is pretty frustrating, to be honest, despite numerous attempts. So I've had to make my way to this particular site. This is the one on Microtech. I had to fly here manually. It's a little bit of a pain in the ass. If you want to do that, you need to go to orbital marker 3, put your nose down, head straight down, you'll come to a big green patch. Look for one singular mountaintop in the shape of a half moon. You can't miss it. When you get close enough, you'll see the crash site trail, and also my scanner actually picked up a little bit of the sort of corpse of this reclaimer, and then I sort of zeroed in. I didn't think to record my route in, unfortunately, so that's the best advice I can give to you to get here. But I'm very keen to see just how much detail they've put into this. So we're going to land our Aquila, and obviously as we're exploring, I thought it would be, you know, sensible to bring an exploration ship. Okay. So here we are on the ground, and I've landed at the rear of the wreck, and as you can see, we are greeted by this monstrosity that is a broken reclaimer, and it looks amazing. What they've done here is incredible. Okay, I like how that it's all rusted, and there's loads and loads of wildlife, etc. Nature has taken course, holes in the hull, you know, it's very well detailed, very well done. And when I landed at this moment in time, the atmosphere is very atmospheric, you know, with the wind, the dark, and they've put the little lights all around the crash site. You can tell people have been living there. There's a fire drum, but unfortunately, like I said, I could not get the reclaimer missions to fire. So this is the wreck that is supposed to be protected by AI. The plan is you go down here and you remove the illegal occupants. So basically murder everyone to death. Once you've killed everyone to death, then you're free to loot. Unfortunately, that didn't happen for me, but that does not mean that we can't have a good look around and soak in the sights. So that's what we're going to do right now. Okay guys, so here we are outside the very broken reclaimer, and it is beginning, the weather's moving in and the atmosphere is awesome. Now, it would have been nice to murder some AI around here, but what we're going to do is take in some of the details. Okay, the reclaimer is a very big ship. I intend to buy one and then come salvage this with a reclaimer. So I'm going to reclaim the reclaimer by using the reclaimer and make some money. That's my plan. That's my goal. So around 15 million alpha UEC I need to save to come back and reclaim this reclaimer with the reclaimer, right? But they've made sort of jump platforms that are marked by these white lips. So when you're traversing around this wreckage, you have an indication of where you can and cannot jump, right? I sort of figured that out quite early, and then tried to jump on this platform and failed miserably. To be honest, it was so atmospheric at the time, I didn't want to put my gun away. Because I was like, well, this shit is scary, man. You know, everyone knows there's a xenomorph running around on reclaimers, okay? If you've been in the reclaimer, you know you're checking your shoulders for a bloody xenomorph, okay? And don't tell me you haven't, because you're lying. It's very atmospheric, and I was frightened. But in terms of gameplay, there's a lot to do here. Again, with the AI, it'd be more. You'd probably have to come in here, clear out any scavengers, we'll call them, or, you know, just bad people, pirates, etc. But it's very dark, dingy, everything's rusted and worn down. And then I had an idea that I thought would be cool. I don't know if they could implement this in the future. I was thinking, well, this crash site, it's really cool, really well done. The attention to detail, everything's really well weathered. You can tell, like, everything's beginning to fade. There's a story to be told with this crash site. So how about if we were to, and that's the gravity ball there, which has clearly failed. What if during these missions players were able to access, I don't know, like a black box, and then a little hologram would pop up showing you how the Reclaimer met its end, its trajectory into, you know, like a system failure, and then a little video replay of how it crashed and how it got there. That would be cool. I just thought that would give the player some immersion, extra immersion, because it is super immersive in here. As we make our way through the front of the vessel, which at least I think is the front, and then we come to this poor guy here, who was just, you know, doing his job. Things went awry, and now he has a steel girder pumped through his chest, and I can tell you, that probably hurt. That probably hurt, but it is very spooky here at night, and I love it. I love it because it opens up so much more for us to do in the future. Now imagine we come across some sort of derelict in Pyro. What's that going to be like? Because we all know that that's a lawless system, and God knows, you know, I imagine derelicts to be covered in graffiti more than anything else, but it would be extra spooky. So I'm trying to navigate my way through the various landscape here to try and get round to the back to have a quick look around. So there are loot boxes around, okay, and a lot of people are obsessed with loot. I really don't care about loot that much, if I'm honest. I just prefer looking around and appreciating the immersion that I can get into. You know, if I find some loot, great, but I'm really not that fussed about it. I'm not fussed about loot that much at all. I just like exploring. You know, the act of exploring is sort of where I get my kick. Any loot I find is just a bonus, but I won't actively seek it out. I did see two sort of crates on the roof of this broken Reclaimer. Couldn't figure out how to get up there, so that's for another day, I feel. But you'll notice that all the girders are broken, everything's really rusted and really well weathered. Even at night, they've made it so that it's still well lit, so you can still traverse that, and that's a nice touch. The lighting in here is excellent. It does give you a feel of sort of like a congregation of things happening, right? People are here, they've been here, there's lights everywhere, they've been stripping the ship. Who knows what they've been doing, but it would have been nice to have that mission 5 for me to complete. So there's a lot of damage to this ship. Everything is super broken, and a ship of this size hitting the ground would have definitely left a mark. So here's the captain's quarters, I believe, and again you can see these sort of lights have been left everywhere. These strobe lights have been dropped by someone, and you do feel like you are in someone's territory, right? I tell you what, it does have a good sort of Fallout vibe in some aspects. Fallout 4 and Vegas, not 76 because that was absolute trash. But yeah, it does sort of give me that vibe. Plants overgrowing everywhere. There's another sort of platform we can jump out here, I think, which is, I'm not sure where that leads. We'll come back and check that in a second. And then we get access to of course, the famous cargo lift on the back of Reclaimer, which has killed me about 3 times. So this is a very slow, heavy, cumbersome ship, and if you've tried to leave any atmosphere in a Reclaimer, you know what I'm talking about. It is incredibly slow. I think you get about 140 meters per second, which is, you know, very tedious. So we're going to try and hop back in here. It is so cool, this thing. Okay, so we're going to go back in there because I think that's possibly a dead end. I'm going to crouch to get through, and then we're going to run out through, back through this platform, I think, if we can get out here. Let's see if that takes us anywhere. So we'll jump down again. So this has been attached to the chassis of the Reclaimer, there was tarpaulin above us. So this is, if I was to hazard a guess, I would expect some AI up here, or maybe it was built as like some sort of lookout. Because you do get, you know, the Reclaimer's massive, and it is a very, very tall ship, so it would appear that they built some sort of lookout with various scrap material, and there's a loot box there. So that would look like some sort of watchtower, maybe, I think, or just a bit of cover. It's a nice easy way in and out the ship. Of course, we have the broken legs of the ship, the landing gear, sort of strewn across the place. And then underneath they've added this like really cool sort of quick workbench, it looks like. There's like a little workbench there. Very immersive what they've done. And little touches like that fire bin. See how the fire was moving in the wind? Little things like that that you would just normally run past and you wouldn't have a clue. I pay attention to that stuff because I like the attention to detail, and it's very impressive. It's very impressive, very immersive, very especially at night. I think if AI were here right now, it would add just this whole new level, because it would be interesting to see how they actually manage traversing the planet, and in particular around, you know, their territory. I imagine they'd be super aggressive, and I think it'd be super fun trying to clear them out. And there's another loot box on there. So let's just see what sort of goodies we might get then while we're here. Oh, no, that's actually not a loot box. Well, that's depressing. Never mind, it doesn't matter. So this should take us. So this is the elevator of death on the Reclaimer. And that takes us through to the cargo room. Various crates. Now, I can't help but wonder just how much loot would be in and around here if the mission had fired up, but I'm sure this is a loot box. Yeah, it is. Okay, so let's have a look and see exactly what we might get for our trouble. A couple of helmets, some sights, substance, 8x scope, mining tool. Always take a mining tool, you know. Nothing I would say that I would jump up and down about. It's all fairly standard stuff. But of course, this is the first loot box we've come across. So we'll take some meds and stuff and take a flare. We'll put that on, actually. It could be useful while exploring the broken Reclaimer. Apples could be one of my 5 a day. We'll take the ration pack. We'll take the tractor beam attachment. Yeah, I don't really... Nothing to really scream about there. I don't need an 8x scope. I haven't got a sniper rifle. If I need one, I'll buy one. Yeah, this is so cool though. Very... spooky is the word. Spooky is the word. So let's try and activate this flare. See if we can get a bit more light while we work. Activate. There we go. Awesome. No, nothing in that. Okay, so that's just pretty much a cargo room. Not a lot to write home about, but I strongly suspect that's because I couldn't get the mission to fire. I think there's probably more stuff to be found for sure, but I'm more sort of interested in the details of what they've done here, because this crash trail from the Reclaimer goes a very, 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 very long way. So it's hit the ground and slid quite some distance. I think roughly a kilometre. I could be mistaken on that, but I think it was round about a kilometre of sliding. It is a very heavy ship. Then we have some containers here, another loot box in here, and let's have a quick look. I don't expect I'll find anything particularly interesting. I think it'd be more of the same, to be honest. Yeah, a couple of helmets, some sights, some more meds, some more sustenance. I do like the fact that they've made food and water readily available everywhere, you know, because it drains quite fast, especially your hydration. I think after about 2 hours you're on like 40%, so it's quite aggressive the hydration levels. That's to be expected, and I think it does actually go down the more you sort of move around. Depends on how active you are. We have some sort of like power station here. I imagine there'd be more guards patrolling around here. Very dark forest, but just overall an excellent experience. I'm very much looking forward now that this reclaimer's in place and the one in space is in place, and there's various aspects to these derelicts. It is going to be exciting to see just what happens in Pyro, what kind of ships. We've got another 318, I think we've got another wreck coming to Daymar. I believe it's a Star Runner and something else I've completely forgotten, my apologies. But this will add a whole new level. And also, another thing that crossed my mind while we look at this superb detailing, it's just everything is just so broken and weathered and really well sort of just demolished, isn't it? It's just an absolute catastrophe of a crash. The other thing I realised was this sort of thing is really going to be perfect for ships that are Pathfinders, your Terrapin, your 315p. Those kind of ships really are going to come into their own when exploring derelicts, because they're easy to park, they're relatively small, they have very good scanners, especially the Terrapin. I think for those planet-side exploration missions, such as this one, those ships really are going to come into their own because they're going to be easy to park, they're going to have decent enough firepower to maybe even kill the infantry before you even land, you know. That nimbleness will come into play, because landing the Aquila here was a little bit tricky. With the wind as well pushing the ship all over the place, it was a little bit touch and go. So that does make the prospect of owning a small little exploring ship even more prominent around the verse, for sure. So you would do your big exploring in an Aquila or 600i, whatever you might have, and then deploy something smaller to get to the surface and explore these awesome areas, because it is very, very, very promising for the future and extremely immersive. And you know there's a xenomorph in here. I refuse to put my gun away. So I'll go back up here because I don't think I came through here before. It's a turret seat, I'm sure it is broken, and it's just a secluded room. Nothing of interest that I can see at the moment. It's just amazing. The potential we're going to have in the future, guys, for just exploration is going to be awesome. And I really do feel the smaller exploration ships and Pathfinders are really going to come into their own. The Carrack with the Pisces is just going to be brilliant for exploring these derelicts. We have a box of material here we can grab and sell. I'm not going to bother. Again, lights have been placed here. So you do get the sense that people are working here and stripping this, and you know, but I will be back with my reclaimer to reclaim the reclaimer. I wonder how much money we'll make from salvage. It's very interesting. Very interesting indeed. And then, because there's only a few derelicts, that in itself is going to cause fights among players, right? People are going to be fighting over these wrecks to strip them. That's another aspect that's going to be interesting. You might have to bring an org here to secure it, you know, and have actual people patrolling this site. Bring your team down, kick the AI's ass, murder everybody, and then defend it. Because people are definitely, almost certainly, going to want to come here and strip this for money. And who could blame them? The size of this ship, I mean, it's got to be worth, I would say, a fair amount, right? There's a lot of metal to be absorbed in via the Drake or another reclaimer. Not to mention maybe individuals landing here and stripping it with their salvage tools. So almost certainly a lot of fun to be had here with this form of gameplay. Okay guys, so that's going to wrap up this video on one of the Derelict reclaimers. It is certainly a very nice addition to 317.2 and Star Citizen in general, and I really hope to see more of these in the future. Guys, if you enjoyed today's video, you know what buttons to press, and I of course will have more Star Citizen content en route to your location very, very soon. Thanks for watching. Cheers.